Preparing to go live now. Oh, in the meantime, I'll put my things on Do Not Disturb. Okay. All right. I guess it goes live sooner than I thought. So thanks for joining me. This is Tuesday Talks on June 25th. I'm Christina Dilbo, Director of Communications. My pronouns are she, her. And speaking of pronouns, this was not on the schedule of what to talk about today, but kind of related. So this past annual conference, one of the resolutions that was passed was the encouragement about encouraging the use of showing your pronouns, using your pronouns on platforms like this um, or other things. So the resolution is still available for review on the annual conference webpage. That's dscumc.org/AC. I encourage you, even though it's annual conference is passed, there's things from these resolutions that your church may need to consider. So if you're a pastor, you probably already saw it, but as a church communicator, maybe you haven't dove into those things. So I encourage you to check that stuff out. So for today, one of the first things I'm going to cover, and I don't think I had this on my schedule either of what we were going to talk about, is let me go back, is about how to submit changes if you are the pastor or maybe as the church staff, maybe you were asked, hey, can you go in and notify whoever about my new address or um, whatever the situation may be. So this is the process. I want to make sure it's obvious because it's also the way that pastors can give us a new headshot. So there doesn't have to be like a specific time to do that. Anytime, if you want to do it once a month, you totally could. Here's how you would do it. So you go to the dscumc.org site, and under contact, you'll find the communications request form. So click on that. And then you would enter the requester's name and email. It's probably going to be the clergy person, but maybe not. And you can just pick other because it's not really about committee work. It's an individual's update. And you can put in here your church name or you could say pastor, I don't know, whatever you want to put in there. The important part is the work request. So there's all kinds of options of what you can choose. And what you need is the update clergy information. And then the next question, I would just go other, and it's actually not even a required question, so you don't even have to answer it. But so once you select this one, different fields pop up afterwards depending on what you selected. So let's say we didn't select this one and we selected suggest the story. See how that changed? So we don't want that. We just want update clergy information. And here's where you would put, as an example, my home address is blah, 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 instead of, it's helpful for us to see what the old information was, because all of this gets recorded as part of our to-do things. And I mean, well, anyway, it's just helpful because then we can see, okay, when we had this address in our database, this was the update for it. If we only had this and maybe somebody had already updated it, like there's just confusion. So please always enter what your new information is and what the old information was. Then this is where you can, and if you don't have changes like this, all you're doing is, I just want to have a new headshot. I hate my old headshot or my headshots from 20 years ago. I loved it. I still love it, but I look a little different now, kind of like me. So you might want to upload a new headshot, and this is where you would do that. It shows here the accepted file types and the maximum file size. So if you're having a hard time uploading your headshot and maybe it's a PNG, PNG files are larger files than a JPEG. And the large doesn't mean about like how many pixels it is. It's just how many megabytes it is. So try resaving. If it's a PNG and it's saying, oh, it's too big, try resaving that as a JPEG instead, JPG or JPEG, either one is fine, and see if that makes it within that 19 megabyte restriction. If that doesn't work, then try sizing it down. What we want is a square picture. If you upload something that's not square, then we have to crop it to be squared. So it's better if you do the cropping, because then we've got the parts of you that you want us to use as your headshot. So the next thing would be is to make sure that your image is, now the canvas size of the image is no larger than 600 by 600 pixels. So you could try making that smaller and smaller. That's the size that I usually use. Like if this clergy person is in one of our committees, a committee chair, and we use their headshot in the website, I try to size it to 600 by 600. So ideally, if you could upload one that size, that'd be great. But if the file size isn't letting you do that, then you could make it 500 by 500, 400 by 400, and so on. No smaller than 150 by 150. If you have it at 150 square and it still isn't working, please contact me. I could probably help you with that file to make it work. All right, so then here's where we would select the image that we're going to upload. And I can see, oh, okay, so that one, I just added the JPEG. Oh, I didn't add a dot in there. Okay, I got to fix the form so it'll allow the dot JPEG. And then here's where you could add any other additions that you wanted to add, correction information. Anything else that you want to say, you click the CAPTCHA and you click submit, and that's that. Anybody have questions about that one? All right, next item that I'm going to share with you is the annual conference report. So right now, I don't have any pictures in it, but the reason why I want to make sure that you're aware that the report is ready is because you, whether it's your lay member to annual conference or you as the communicator, you can 100% copy and paste this whole report or parts of it if you want for your church communications to share what it is that happened at annual conference. And this is like just about everything. There's more things that happened, and you would be able to see those in the YouTube recordings. And if you go to annual conference under news and events, you'll find links. Maybe your group wants to learn more about the heat relief program that's available. You can click on this and download it. Maybe you heard about the amazing presentation that Dr. Ashley Bogan gave. You can click on it and download it and play it in your own ministry setting. You can link to it if you want to from your report so that people can see more about, let's say, the lady session, whatever it is. Also, if you want to add photos to your report, any of the photos that we have available on the Desert Southwest Conference Flickr account are free for local church use. You can go ahead and republish them wherever you want, and there won't be a copyright issue for it. If you're looking for something specific, I recommend using the albums and then going down to that specific segment that you were looking for. Questions about that? Okay. Next is the LGBTQ plus inclusive worship that Discipleship Ministries put together for local church use. So again, this is something that you can copy and paste. You can edit it if you want to a little bit, but this is for local church use. It's the whole order of worship that's recommended. It's not something that any church has to use. It's just a resource that's available. Hopefully it makes your life a little bit easier and enriches your worship services. Questions about that one? Okay, now I don't see everybody on my screen, so if you raised your hand, please let me know, or if you put something on chat, let me know, because I'm just looking at this full screen here. All right, next item is, for me, this is where we're starting to get into the exciting stuff, the communication stuff. One of the upcoming leadership talks, it's going to be on July 8th. It's on social media for churches. So whether your church is doing an incredible job or searching for like, somebody please help me, we're just not doing what we want to be able to do. I recommend you register for the social media for churches leadership talk. I think it's going to be a really good one. I plan to attend. You just never know what you might learn. There might be some new tidbit or something you forgot about that, like, oh, how did I knew that? Why didn't I do that? And it could really be helpful. And having more people on here helps to enrich the conversation. People can share, hey, that worked for me. And maybe that encourages somebody else to try and do whatever new idea that Dr. Nicole Riley is going to share. So I just want to make sure that you all are aware of the social media for churches. And it doesn't just have to be your communicator that uses this. If your church is doing something similar to what the conference does, which is to have Facebook groups for specific topics. So we have Facebook groups for like economic inequality. We have a Facebook group for our laity. We have a Facebook group called um, Ask, Tell, Ask, Show, Tell, I think, where people can just say, hey, I'm looking for blah, blah, blah. Does anybody know about that? Or whatever. But anyway, so we have these specific groups. And with those groups, the committee that works with that group or works on that topic or group has someone in that team, in that Facebook group, as the administrator. And so in my case, this would be something really good. This is for churches, so I'm not really 100% sure how it's going to apply for our committees, but thankfully they are also recorded. So if it turns out to be something that we can shift and make it work for our committees, I'll encourage our committee chairs to have somebody watch this. So again, it's not just for the church communicator, it could be for your committee people that do social media for your committee. Any questions about that? Oh, and they are free. They're always in the evening, 7 p.m. I think they're either 1 hour or an hour and a half, depending on how the conversation is going. And if you ever wanted to find a previous one, let's go to the home page. The leadership talks are part of the Clergy and Lay Leadership Development Committee team, or committee's work. And so if you click on their page, once it loads up, there we go. Then you can go to Leadership Talk videos, and this will show you where all of the previous recordings are with a little bit of who it is that's talking about it, or maybe what it's about. So there you go. Okay, so next item, unless there's questions about that. Okay, so the next one is AI training for church communicators. Now there have been several different AI discussions, blogs, podcasts about it. I love that this one in particular is from Resource UMC, and it's for church communicators. So they're going to be sharing some tips and insights on what's going to make things easier for you as the church communicator. I'll admit I'm not like a huge AI user, and I always get really nervous about like, well, I want to make sure I'm asking the question right. I don't know. And so I've tried it twice, and I've never tried it like to fruition to actually use something that it offered. But that's because my prompt was not well honed. And after a discussion that I had with my son the other day about it, so I wanted to share this with you all. He was explaining to me, don't be afraid, just talk to it like a normal person. Just start with whatever it is and see what it gives you. If it's not quite right, you can go back in and edit it and revise it so that you can see like, oh, I should have added that I want this to be an automated thing. So then you add the word automated and see what that does. And if that's not quite right, you can keep changing it and changing it on the free ChatGPT. I think you get up to 50 tries either per month or per day. I don't remember. But each of those tries is all of those reworkings of your prompt. So even if it was 50 per month, like, hey, if this isn't something that you're already needing to do, but you're wanting to explore it, then give it a try. Make yourself an account and try it out. Definitely attend this webinar. I believe this one's also free. Let's double check. Yeah. Oh, and they only have so many spots, so be sure to register soon. Here, what else? Let's see. Must be free because there's no price listed. So there you go. Another free item. Okay. Oh, somebody put something in chat. It looks like this specific course is full, but registration open back up on June 28th. Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. Thank you, Megan. So come back on the 28th. And so I got to make sure I turn off this one from, oh, good. I didn't put it in the newsletter. All right. Then real quick question with those of you that are here, what do you use for your online giving at your church?
We use Breeze.
Breeze. And do you know anything about like how much that is or any problems you all have had? Or would you recommend it?
So far, I would recommend it. We moved originally from Vanco to PushPay about 7 years ago, 6 years ago. And PushPay is awesome, but super expensive, and we weren't using it to its full capacity. So we actually moved all of our church management system into Breeze, and it's $72 a month for unlimited users. So far, the only thing I don't really like about it is that I have to create user accounts for our members for them to be able to change anything on their online giving. And I'm not ready to open that up to the congregation because that opens up just other information that they can get to. So that so far has been the biggest thing. But other than that, we used Breeze for our BBS registration. They have forms where you can put in a payment option as well, which has been great. I highly recommend it. And if anybody wants to learn more, I've got a link for so I can get some cool stuff too. So
Nice, cool. Well, send me the link and I'll include it in my follow-ups. So if anybody wants to check it out. And then Jessica shared that they use PushPay, but they're getting ready to switch to Servant Keeper's online giving. And she echoed that's exactly why they're switching. It's the cost of PushPay. Since they're already using Servant Keeper, switching to their online giving will be pretty simple. Oh, lucky you. So that means you probably already have all the profiles in there. Servant Keeper is really trying to make their online giving resourceful. One great thing compared to PushPay is no PCI compliance. Oh my goodness. Lucky you with the PCI compliance. I'm in that nightmare right now. I hate doing that, but you know, it's necessary. It's important stuff. Thanks for sharing. How about you, Ann or Jim? Do you know what you all use for online giving at your church?
We're using Servant Keeper also, and I think we don't have that many people that want to participate that way. So, we haven't seen the need to go to anything more sophisticated. So,
Gotcha. And do you know what you all use? I think Kim's frozen. Kim, do you all use, do you know what your church uses for online giving?
I don't. It starts with, I think it starts with an R, but I don't know, and I'm not that familiar with it, so I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, the one that I was recommending is, let me go back here, is Tidely. And I mean, I've helped a church get set up with it. What I love about Tidely is that it can be $0 per month. There are these other fees though. So for the church would be $0 per month unless somebody uses, let's say, American Express or whatever. And so the other thing you can do so that you still don't have fees is you can set up your online giving with Tidely, where you can have an option for the donor to cover the cost of making the donation. So if I was going to donate $50, then I could click that button to add in the cost of my donation, and it would be $50 plus whatever percentage, depending on what card I'm using. So that's what I really liked about it. Yeah, go ahead, Megan.
I was gonna say, so Vanco used to do that. PushPay didn't offer it, but Breeze does. And so I went, sure, why not? I have had a fair amount of pushback with people going, why is it costing so much? And I'm like, guys, it's Visa, MasterCard, American Express. It's not the church charging that. It's not our program charging it. And so I've had a fair amount of people who have actually stopped their online giving because they're like, well, I don't want to pay this. No, you don't have to pay it. It's budgeted already. We already know about it. You just have the option.
Mhm.
Well, I don't want, okay, fine, then write a check. Like, I don't know what to tell you. But we did have a fair amount of pushback on that, which is so surprising to me because I was like, it's just an option, guys. If you want to, you
Mhm.
can. I don't, but you can. So just be aware of that if you move to any of those other ones.
Smart, yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, so let's go back over. There we go. So for those of you that are watching the recording, I hope, and those of you that haven't already filled out the communication survey, I hope you can take a moment to fill it out soon and let us know what it is that your church uses for all these different things. Many of you have already filled it out, so thank you so much for that. What we do with this information is the Commission on Communication will review it. Part of it I also use for things like this when a church asks, like I had that question about online giving. One of our church asked me, and I didn't have that information anymore. So, doing a survey like this helps to compile that information so that, like, because I'm not working at a church and using it myself, it's hard for me to give a good recommendation, but at least I could say 30 of our churches are using da and they're loving it. Or 30 of our churches were using it and they moved away because of this reason. I'm not encouraging or discouraging, just sharing facts. So it's really helpful to have that information. So if you could, please take a moment to fill that out. And let me see here. I will include the link to that as well. Oh, yes. Then the last thing I want to share. Do you want to say something, Jim? Go ahead.
Just wanted to mention that if you're having problems with any of the software or the communications type of things that we're doing, it really helps to have that database because Christina can at least point you in the right direction. Somebody that's experienced it. So that's been very helpful for me.
Nice. Thank you. There you go. All right. So then the last thing I wanted to share is just to make sure that you all are aware that the conference is hiring an office assistant. This position, well, you can, I'm going to include this in, if it wasn't already, in the newsletters today and tomorrow. And you can find out more about it by clicking here, but it's for the district office responsible for assisting the district superintendents of the Desert Southwest Conference and providing administrative support. So take a look. If you know someone that would be a good candidate, please share that, either this article or just click here where you actually apply. Click this link with them and yeah, hopefully we'll get someone great.
Do you by
Right.
chance know how much time is spent in the office on this one? I noticed it's a hybrid position, but how much time are you all expecting them to be in the office at the conference office?
That is a great question. I'll find out. It is a part-time position.
Right.
It's 20 hours. It's approximately 20 hours per week. I know, like right now, I don't know for the districts how it is. I know for conference staff, we're encouraged to go into the office at least once a week. And that's just right now. I mean, there's been seasons where we all had a flex schedule and you had to, I think it was be in the office 3 days a week and you could work from home 2 days a week, and you could decide when you're going to be in the office, when you're going to be at home. There's been seasons where we have to be in the office 100%, unless there's like some good reason why you have to work from home. And then there's, of course, through COVID, been seasons where pretty much nobody's in the office. There are some things that have to be done physically in the office, like for archives, handling the things or cutting checks. And so I imagine that there's things like that in the district office. I can share that Janine doesn't work in the office every day of the week. I don't know what her schedule is, though. So that would be something to inquire about. And I really don't know, other than what the announcement says, I don't know much more about that. I will find out and see if I can include that detail in my follow-up notes so that, because I'm sure hundreds of people are interested, but it's just hopefully will make it that much easier for you to be able to share the news about this job post. And, yeah, so I'll include that with my follow-up notes, and I guess that's it. Next week, I will be having a Tuesday talks. It'll be the day after I come back from a short little vacation. So I don't know that I'll have a whole lot. And if there isn't anything to share, then I just won't post it. But don't forget to share with your clergy about how to update their clergy information, and the fact that even if they're not moving, if they want to send us a new headshot, that they can use that form to send it to us anytime. There's not like a certain, because I think it's been at least 10 years since clergy have been officially asked, hey, can you turn in a new headshot, please? And I think because of that, people aren't really doing that. But I know that there's a lot of outdated headshots in those appointment announcements. So please be sure to do that. All right, thank you, everybody. I hope to see you all next